What's up, YouTube? Swordsman here again with my brother Ravage, and got something really, really special for you today. We have the Sword of Omens from Thundercats, and we have
the He-Man Power Sword.
So the only thing left we have to say now, before we get the review started, is Thunder. Thunder. Thundercats! Oh!
You're scaring me.
Yeah, it scared people sometimes too.
But not as much as, I have the power! You know, he yells the thing. The whole spiel. The whole spiel. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel.
Yeah, that is kind of long-winded.
By the power of Grayskull.
Okay, well, now that that's out of the way, let's just go ahead and say that...
Those were train wrecks.
Yeah, that was bad. That these were probably our individual favorite TV shows from the 80s growing up. I loved Thundercats, my brother loved He-Man, so we knew one day eventually when we grew up we were going to get the swords from these shows. Didn't know when, how, where, but we have them now. So let's go ahead and tell you a little bit about these swords. I think first off we'll start with the Sword of Power from He-Man.
Weighing in at about, what would you say?
I'd say about 6.5 pounds.
6.5 pounds, maybe a little more, at 36-inch blade and 45 inches overall. Very heavy, two-handed Sword of Power. It's not exactly, show things. I guess they had this more of a look about it, like this came up more up to here. But it does what you have to do to translate it to real life. Like I've said before in my own review on the sword, we just thought that this would be better off, because they're two classic swords growing up from many of your childhoods. My mom would always tell me about the story when I had a toy of the He-Man sword back when those were out. That I woke up in the middle of the night because I would fall asleep with it. Woke up in the middle of the night, basically acting like He-Man, and then I'd fall right back to sleep. So. So since then, I've been plagued with that story over and over again, and so it never really went anywhere. So
it kept a mental image in his head of the sword and of the whole...
The memory.
Yeah.
The times that I had with it, and it wasn't until a few years ago when I bought the that DVD that I showed you with 10 episodes from the series, and I'm like, oh my god, this is what I was liking. This was so... horribly bad.
Yeah, it was cheesy.
I mean, it was good in its own right. I can see why it would keep kids entertained, but I think Dolph Lundgren did a better job as He-Man than whoever voiced the original. I mean, with Dolph Lundgren, you heard him, and you could tell he had the power. But that is something for a different time, because the movie, I'm not even sure if even the critic himself has done Masters of the Universe. Do you think he has? I can't really recall. I
do believe he mentions Masters of the Universe. If he did a review, I think it was a long time ago, and it was one of his shorter reviews.
Yeah, but regardless, is that I have to watch the movie again because now that I've thought about it, I want to remember what the sword he used in the movie looked like. And if so, can I get one?
Yeah, I know I haven't seen
really good. But this thing is solid. It's not battle ready, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it will cleave some things off of anything you want to hack up, but not too strong, no armor, nothing like that, unless you're crazy like us. The sword came quasi-sharp, that's about, let's say about 50% sharp. A few dislikes about it, that it came quite scratched and dinged and nicked up. Some of the
might have been due to storage.
Yeah, I mean, but there's like just this weird material covering the metal. I'm probably saying to coat the metal to keep it from rusting or whatnot, but it is... Oh, God, that doesn't even... I can't even say that sounds like steel, but yeah, I want to say it's steel. It is a great sword. $100 on eBay. The listing said 1 of 100. So I don't know how many exactly are still out there. Nice leather grip. Hasn't shifted or moved on me like you would see with some other cheaply made style swords. But like I said, this one was made really good. I'm really proud, really happy with it. It's actually longer than the Conan swords that I also own. And a little heavier. But all in all, For $100, I got what I paid for, and as I always say, I have the power. And you can too. You can too for $100 on eBay.
Yeah, I think I've also seen the sword offered several different websites, like such as Budk and maybe even SharpSwords.com. I think they've offered it once or twice. I think I remember seeing. But yes, the He-Man Sword of Power. If you were a fan of the show or a fan of the movie, even a fan of the old comics, go ahead and pick one up. So you won't be disappointed. It's great for cosplay or as a wall hanger. So
and don't worry about if you get the one with the sheath. He didn't have a sheath. It just kind of like locked onto his back somehow. So the sheath is cheap.
Magic.
Yeah, magic. The sheath that comes with it is cheap.
Okay, well, now that we got the He-Man Sword of Power, let's move on to the Sword of Omens from Thundercats. Oh, it's not that bad. Speaking of weight, though, we'll start with the same as you start with the Sword of Power. We'll start with the weight. It probably weighs about 7.5 pounds. It is more hefty than the Sword of Power for some reason. Probably just because this was a lot of die-cast steel for the handle because they put electronics in the handle. Unfortunately, the electronics are faulty and they do not work. There is a tiny button here that is when you hold, it is supposed to light up the Eye of Omens.
Yeah. Eye of Thundera.
Eye of Thundera, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah. You don't want them kind of comments.
Yeah, I know. What am I thinking? But on the length, it's actually the blade is the exact same length as the Sword of Power. It's 36 inches long. The sword is 1 inch longer than the Sword of Power, 46 inches long altogether. Again, it's very sharp actually. You could probably easily cut a melon with this. Yeah, it's pretty sharp. I think it's sharper than the He-Man. And like I said, really hefty weight. When it comes to battle readiness, again, I wouldn't go swinging this probably at anything. You could cut melons with it, but that's probably it.
How many is the question?
Yeah, how many before it just goes kaput? I don't know, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I probably won't even test it on one to find out.
Can you imagine him cosplaying as Lion?
But, I could do it. I could do it. I'd look a little funny, but I could do it. I planned on cosplaying as Spider-Man one time, so, you know, we'll see how that goes. But when it comes to both of these series, we loved them growing up. We cherished them. Again, he was more of a He-Man fan. I was more of a Thundercats fan.
Now, I like Thundercats.
Yeah,
equally,
and I wouldn't say I wouldn't know if I would say I liked He-Man equally.
You never liked him.
I don't go, but I wouldn't go as far to say that I didn't like it at all. I liked it some. I liked it for the action aspect. But yeah, a lot of the dialogue, and even when I was a kid, I thought the animation was a little
He caught on to that
dodgy.
stuff more than me.
It was a little strange, I thought. But of course, Thundercats. It was Rankin Bass. The animation was crisp. It was clean. Everything was fast paced. It just looked gorgeous. So we were both big fans of the Rankin Bass Hobbit and Return of the King animated films growing up too. So. Yeah. When we saw Thundercats, we knew off the bat we were going to like it, just based off of the animation alone.
Yeah.
But again, two really, really great swords that you're not going to find just, anywhere. You got to do a little bit of searching online to find these. There's a couple of sites out there, but like we said, eBay is the best place to find these swords. I also found this on eBay for about $100, $20 shipping, so it was about $120 altogether. Because of the electronics being faulty in this, I did get a partial refund, so all in all, the sword really only cost me about $90.
And I tried fixing it once before, and it was functional for a while, but again, it's one of those.
Working.
But again, it's one of those things where it's like I didn't have much room to play with. So.
Yeah. I also kind of thought they could have done a better job with the Eye of Thundera in and of itself. There's mostly clear plastic here, but the light bulb on the inside is a red bulb, so it does glow red when it is lit up, but because the electronics are faulty, it no longer lights up, which is really disappointing. So if you do make a purchase of this and it has the electronics, be very wary. The electronics may be faulty. So yeah, very, very. Unless you're an expert with rewiring things, I wouldn't go messing with it. Again, if you buy one and it's faulty, just ask for a partial refund or send it back for a replacement.
But this thing, like I said, the only thing you have to worry about is the slight damage that might come with it, because it does look like it could be a mass-produced style sword, just for fans of the show, in a sense. So it's really nothing all that special, but it's special to me.
Okay, so
and I'm very happy.
So I think before we leave you today, we'll go ahead and give you one more close-up of these swords, and so you can see a little bit more of their details.
Harris just holding them. I mean, even He-Man handled like that, so So I just wish I had a battle cat. I got a newbie.
Yeah.
I mean, he ain't much of nothing. He's like Cringer. But he ain't no battle cat.
Okay. And as you see, this does come with a nice fuller or blood groove in the center of the sword.
None here.
Simulated gems. These are made of plastic, so they're not really worth much. But again, it does simulate the look and feel of the cartoons as accurately as possible.
That one's way more accurate to the show than what I've got. So it's there is no comparison. The handle and hilt and everything look perfect. Like I said, it's just that center.
Yeah, and both blades were made from 440 stainless steel, so they are pretty solid. So the blades are probably the highest quality part of it. Yes. So until next time, I am the Swordsman.
And I'm Ravage.
Later.